brought by special counsel Robert Mueller. I want to bring in Congressman Steve Cohen. He's a Democrat from Tennessee, also on the House Judiciary Committee. Let me ask you first, Congressman Cohen, when you look at this news about Paul Manafort, he is the president's former campaign chairman. In any other time, I suppose this one story would be all we would be talking about, but there is so much happening here. What's the significance of this in your view? It's
very significant. Judge Jackson, who ordered him in jail, back in April had a hearing on Manafort, and she made some remarks from the bench that were very questioning of the scope of the authority of Mr. Mueller. Very balanced and fair. And I think for her to take the extraordinary position and order to put him in jail prior to his trial says there was a lot of evidence to make her make that decision. I think Mueller has everything. And if I were Cohen, and I am Cohen, but I'm not the wicked Cohen, I'd be worried.
Do you think that folks at home separate Paul Manafort from the president? He was his campaign chairman, but the crimes involved here, the alleged crimes, go back many years before the campaign relating to money laundering work that Paul Manafort did for foreign governments, including the pro-Russian government in Ukraine. Do folks at home separate that from his work for a number of months during the campaign for President Trump?
I think he wants to have people do that, and I think his base might believe him on that. But the fact is, he got the change in the Republican platform to say that we wouldn't have offensive weapons given to the Ukraine government to go and battle against the Russian separatists and the Russian military, and that that was done under the cover of darkness, and he was being paid by Ukraine. Anytime a person takes a job like that for nothing, they're getting something from somebody else. And Manafort was getting lots of money from other people. He used that position just like some other people that we know who work for nothing for the government, but they make a lot of money somewhere else. The government's just a place to generate business.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that going around, sadly. I want to ask about another headline, the IG report. Looking at the FBI investigation of Hillary Clinton's emails during the campaign, the president, of course, is claiming vindication here, even though this report had nothing to do with the investigation, the Russia investigation, Robert Mueller, but he's kind of tying them together. But we had Lindsey Graham on the air just a couple of hours ago, and he made the point about how this damages the broader credibility of the FBI. Have a listen if you can.
Here's what I think most people will take from this, particularly the Republicans, to be honest with you, that the institutions investigating President Trump took a real blow here. The people that were showing bias against the president also were part of the initial Russian investigation. But you'll be kidding yourself if you think this doesn't do a lot of damage to the institutions that are now looking at the president. This gives a face to many of what the deep state looks like.
Remarkable words from Senator Graham, who previously has poo-pooed this idea of there being a deep state. Do you think that that's a fair argument?
No, I don't. I do think that it might hurt the FBI some, even though the FBI has not been seen through this report as most have done wrong. There was certainly Comey was subordinate. He was extremely careless, to use his words about Hillary Clinton. Ironically, he was the one that was extremely careless. But the FBI is an honorable institution, has a lot of really fine men and women working for it. And if people get that, it's because the president is trying to put it out because he wants to say that everybody in any institution that's working on this Mueller investigation that has got, it's an iceberg. There's so much that we don't know. There's enough we know to make us see that there's suspicion, there's smoke, there's fire. There is a raging fire going on, and Mueller knows it all, and Trump knows it all, and Trump is trying to poison the jury pool.
Oddly enough, in spite of the president's comments, the report focused on the handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation. In fact, the strongest criticism really is of how Director Comey handled that investigation in the midst of the campaign. Do you think the criticism that it laid on Comey for his handling of the Clinton investigation, do you think that that is fair?
Yes, I do. I called for Comey to resign in October, and I felt it would tip the election to Donald Trump. When you mentioned Anthony Weiner and laptop, I mean, that's a pretty horrific picture, and then Hillary Clinton, it made a lot of people who were Hillary supporters go, oh, maybe there's something there, they're investigating. I felt like that was the clincher.
Well, wait, how can you say that credibly, to say that it is fair for the IG to criticize the FBI for handle the Clinton investigation, but not fair to lay blame or at least some responsibility on the way that they've handled the early stages of the Russia investigation.
Well, this was not the FBI so much, it was Comey. Comey took it upon himself, outside of FBI regulations and rules, to open that investigation within 2 weeks of a presidential election. He violated the rules and he felt he needed to do it. He was our savior, and he went beyond. That wasn't the FBI. The fact is, you know, the president, where he says this report vindicates him, this report had nothing to do with the Mueller investigation. It didn't vindicate him. The Warriors over the Cavaliers vindicated him as much as this did, and I'm surprised the president didn't claim that Stefan didn't do it to vindicate him.
I didn't know there were Warriors fans in Tennessee, but listen, they're a great team. Congressman Cohen, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Hope you enjoy the week.